Hello and welcome to the Dominion Daily for August 15th, 2025. Looks like we've got Plunder and Menagerie. Oh, one Corn Guilds card. Okay. Holdover from yesterday. Yeah. So we've got Bounty Hunter and Maroon thinning. We've got draw from Swamp Shack's Pilgrim, and I guess maybe Maroon, although mostly not. I guess there's some loots that are triple types. That's where I mean, a dual type, Maroon trashing a dual type is a little bit of draw, but the triple type is where, or more, I suppose, is where you really get like real draw out of that. Anyway, so yeah, basically Swamp Shack's Pilgrim plus actions, also Swamp Shack's First Mate. Yeah, First Mate can be a bit of draw as well, potentially. I guess there's also Prepare. And then plus Spy and gains from Jeweled Egg, Merchant Guild, Kiln. Yeah, Jeweled Egg is the only way to gain loot. Looks that way. Okay. So I would have said maybe we don't need Maroon because we got Bounty Hunter. But if we want to break some eggs, we got to get Maroon. So that's good to know. I still would probably prefer to open with Bounty Hunter. Probably just Bounty Hunter supplies. The goal here is going to be to, like, yeah, draw with Swamp Shacks and Pilgrim, and then play a bunch of Merchant Guilds, which maybe that means we don't need the Jeweled Eggs. It is, I guess the thing about Merchant Guild is that it's delayed payload, right? You buy stuff and then you get coffers, and then like the coffers become your payload. It can be nice to have some more upfront payload, which loot could certainly be. The nice thing about Merchant Guild is that you can play a whole bunch of them with First Mate, like unlike loot. So, although, I mean, how much does that really matter, I guess, depends on, like, that's good from an action standpoint, but obviously it doesn't cost actions to play loot anyway. What matters more is like whether you can actually effectively get draw out of that by like playing a whole bunch of them and then replenishing your hand size, and whether that happens is going to depend on kind of how the draws line up. I don't, off the cuff, have a super great idea of whether that's going to work out or not. I mean, Swamp Shack's early in the turn doesn't draw a lot of cards, and there's not necessarily a ton of stuff here to buff it. You could get Cabin Boys in play. So like I can certainly envision a scenario where you play some Swamp Shacks, but you really haven't increased your hand size that much. Although supplies will increase hand size on the turn where you have the horse. And supplies won't exactly play nicely with the First Mate stuff either. So maybe, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess another thing you can do is you can kiln Merchant Guilds. You can't kiln loot. Well, either way, I think I'm just going to go Supplies Bounty Hunter, and then let's see how these things play out. They march the Bounty Hunter to Exile an Estate. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I mean, if I didn't have a 4/3, but on the one hand, it is nice to get the card out of the deck. On the other hand, like with Bounty Hunter, you don't get any use out of the coins, which is kind of awkward. I wonder if Yeah, I don't know. Wonder about that. Anyway, we have 4 here. We will almost certainly hit 5 next turn between having the horse and having the bounty hunter coming up. Um, we could go ahead and get a maroon. Maroon is going to do a better job of cleaning up the rest of our coppers than bounty hunter from a draw efficiency standpoint, unless we do play with first mate. And that can trash the jeweled eggs. So that is pretty nice. On the other hand, what are we going to take as our first 5? Like if we wanted to go ahead and get a merchant guild already, we would have 2 terminals. So there is prepare. Yeah, alright, let's just get the maroon. We could save the horse here. We do have another estate down there. Be nice to not leave on top. Yeah, let's play it. And yeah, I think Merchant Guild. Okay, so we could prepare our bounty hunter. We know we'll see a copper or an estate. So we'll see something useful there. Alternatively, well, and we also get the copper into play next turn for the Merchant Guild. Yeah, that seems good enough to make it worthwhile. Okay, so if we bounty hunt a copper, we have 4, 5, 6 coins. Otherwise, we have 4 coins. What do we get on 6? Maybe like Swamp Shacks and a Jeweled Egg or something. And what do we get on 4? We don't want 2 Jeweled Eggs. We've only got the 1 Maroon in our deck, so there's no real point in that. Even getting 1 Jeweled Egg now is a little bit ambitious, honestly. We got a lot of junk left in our deck to get rid of. We could just exile an estate and just buy a Swamp Shacks. And not have a second buy. I guess double supplies is also an option, though that is not really going to push us towards deck control, so I'm not really a fan, I don't think. Getting 1 loot into the deck would be nice. I think I'm going to go with Swamp Shacks. Jeweled Egg. Alright, now we've got the Maroon and the Jeweled Egg down there, so that's nice. Alright, we can just take another Swamp Shacks. Also consider getting like a first mate or a kiln. There's also Pilgrim. Next turn, if we see the jeweled egg, I guess it doesn't really matter whether we do or not. Like, the Maroon is still going to draw 2 cards, assuming we see that, which we probably will because we have a horse on top. So that will actually trigger a shuffle? Hmm. This isn't a huge problem because if we draw stuff dead, we can prepare. Yeah, like maybe we should just lean into the prepare thing and get another merchant guild for now. But the other way to look at it is we trigger a shuffle and then we have... Oh wait, no, we have the plus actions from Swamp Shacks though, so we would be able to play another terminal. Hmm. Yeah, First Mate is not going to be amazing right now because we don't have multiple copies of anything, but it does play nicely with the Bounty Hunter and it plays nicely with the Swamp Shacks. If we were to draw it off the top, though, it wouldn't be very good. We just take the Kiln for now. We want to spend 1 coffer on either a supplies or a jeweled egg. So definitely not jeweled egg. We're going to trigger a shuffle that doesn't have the maroon in it. Supplies... Sure. Is this loot gonna go into our shuffle? It is. Okay. We should get more Swamp Shacks. Let's do that. So if we prepare the Kiln here, we do have a Copper in Exile. Could also Kiln the supplies and prepare the Merchant Guild. Maybe that makes more sense. Oh, but Merchant Guild supplies. Oh, I forgot about Merchant Guild supplies. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, we should prepare the Kiln. And take another supplies, I guess. And another Swamp Shacks. Alright, I think we're getting to the point where we could use a First Mate. Oh, they did get a Pilgrim. And 3 jeweled eggs. But why? I guess there's no reason to do that yet, is there? Still really isn't. Okay. There's no way we're not doing it, though. Hammer with Merchant Guild is also really nice. It's easy to forget that Merchant Guild like gets coffers for cards gained, not cards bought, because it didn't used to be so. Alright. Yet another Swamp Shacks. We definitely use another Merchant Guild. Now maybe we take another jeweled egg, but maybe supplies is just better. It's funny, like my initial thought with the first jeweled egg was, oh, nice to have like a source of plus buy that, you know, gives a decent amount of coins, and hammer of course doesn't actually give plus buy, but yeah, the Merchant Guild supplies thing, I think that might just be better anyway. Alright, we can kill in the Swamp Shacks, sure. Ugh. We take another First Mate, or do we take a Pilgrim? I'm gonna say Pilgrim. First Mate on 2 horses. Can we realistically expect to do better? Probably not. Oh, well that makes this better anyway. Okay. We're gonna have to play at least one Swamp Shacks. But I guess we could... we could potentially bounty hunt like a supplies. The cost of not having it this turn. To draw an extra card with the Swamp Shacks. Nah. I don't think so. I'd like to kill in a Merchant Guild. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Guess we gotta play this first anyway. Okay. Well, I shouldn't play that. Maybe I want to prepare it. Probably not. Suddenly we're thin. We're gonna get a bunch of coffers this turn. Just take another supplies. We could also take Cabin Boys. Start taking Cabin Boys. The piles are getting a little low. The bot has only gained 1 loot. It has a bunch of jeweled eggs, but it's only gained 1 loot. This is why I didn't want to take a bunch of jeweled eggs. The fact that we got the hammer first was amazing, of course, but even so, even if we hadn't. Anyway, but yeah, Cabin Boys just to power up the Swamp Shacks. Leave it at 4 supplies, maybe. We'll probably have enough coffers anyway, and the more important thing is to make sure that we draw. Speaking of which, maybe we take 1 more Pilgrim and 1 more First Mate. And we could go ahead and take a province. We've got to the point where this copper can be trashed by Maroon. The province could be bounty hunted. I think that's reasonable. $24 coffers. We get attacked by sword here. I guess we're not getting attacked by sword here. Oh no, wait, we could... What am I talking about? Sword is not during the action phase. Yeah, I was gonna say, okay, I think we still have to discard the bounty hunter, unfortunately, to make sure that we draw as well as possible. It would have been nice, right, like, to hold on to it because of the I can't words, but first mate, I guess, plus Swamp Shacks is what I'm trying to say. Okay, this is looking like first mate for Swamp Shacks. Yes. Although I say that, but we play the first mate, we play 3 Swamp Shacks, we have 4 cards in hand. The first Swamp Shacks draws 0 cards. The next 2 each draw 1 card. And then we're at 6, and then we don't draw anything after that. Which, we could compare that to playing 1 Swamp Shacks, which draws no cards, then first mating the Pilgrims. And then we have 4 cards in play. The next Swamp Shacks draws 1 card, and the next Swamp Shacks draws 2 cards. It's a little worse from an action standpoint, but it's a little better from a draw standpoint. Maybe actions is actually more important, though, because we want to be able to like kill the Merchant Guild and all that. Okay. Yeah, let's go with... this. Alright. Yeah, I can't... I mean, I guess if we were going for pile out, I think we're going for emptying provinces, right? We've got 24 coffers. We only need to hit 16 money. Otherwise, if we were going for a pile out, we'd want to take Pilgrim and try to empty on Pilgrims and Jeweled Eggs. So, with our kiln, I mean, it is worth thinking about that a little bit. I think, well, I guess we can play the other Pilgrim first. We have the actions. So this is going to cost 28, but it's also going to cost 9 buys to get all of the stuff. Although we can hammer for a Jeweled Egg, so it costs 26 and 8 buys. Do we have 8 buys? Hammer doesn't give us a buy. We have... I don't think we do. I think our only source of plus buy is these Merchant Guilds. So, yeah, I think we gotta kill Merchant Guild. Do we even want to earn a copper? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We would draw an extra card, but we should have another Swamp Shacks down there. Maybe? Maybe we don't. How much money are we going to have? We have the 4 supplies and the hammer. That's 7, 8 from another Merchant Guild, 9, 10, 11 from the Bounty Hunter, and 4. I think we might be 1 coin short, unless have we... Oh, we haven't seen all of our Merchant Guilds. Okay. Oh, and we did have another Swamp Shacks down here. Okay, I thought we split it 5-5, but I guess not. Well, that's fine. All right, yeah, we get there exactly. I guess we gain an estate. Exact money and buys, no less. Yeah. So I think we were doing relatively similar things early, but then the bot went for all these jeweled eggs that it wasn't able to pop with its maroon. It didn't have great deck control. I'm not sure why I wasn't able to get deck control. Like, certainly having the hammer and being able to gain extra Swamp Shacks, and then also killing some Swamp Shacks. Like, we had more Swamp Shacks, which I didn't realize, but we did. So that was good. It had more Pilgrims, but it didn't have the first mates. It had fewer supplies, but supplies don't... They're not exactly deck control, right? I mean, like... If you bottom deck the supplies, then it's a lot like deck control because you get to increase your hand size and makes it easier to line up your stuff. But if you don't bottom deck the supplies, then it's not, and does run actively counter to the first mate draw. Although we basically didn't use first mate draw anyway; we just used it as another village. And I guess it's also another card that gets into play that then powers up the Swamp Shacks. Anyway, yeah, I don't really have a great explanation for where the bot went wrong, aside from the jeweled egg thing, and maybe that's all that it really was. I could see that. It also only had one Merchant Guild, which I think is bad. I think Merchant Guild... I totally forgot about the Merchant Guild supplies interaction until I got a ways into the game, but I do think this is probably reason enough for Merchant Guild to be the best payload on the board. As I mentioned, the fact that you can kiln it, that it plays nicely with first mate, that it plays reasonably nicely with Swamp Shacks, is also all good. But yeah, the supplies interaction really kind of pushes it over the top. We ended the game with 40 coffers. That's actually pretty funny because we spent exactly 40 coins to get those 5 provinces, and then we got 40 coffers back. I mean, that's just a coincidence, but it's pretty funny. Anyway, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.